Muscle cars that were too powerful for their time. Welcome back to Vintage Wheels Chronicles. Today we're diving into the wildest rides of the muscle car era. Cars that were simply too powerful for their time. These beasts pushed the limits of technology, safety, and even legality. Buckle up, because these monsters weren't just fast. They were dangerous. 1. 1970 Plymouth Superbird 426 HEMI. The 1970 Plymouth Superbird was a purpose-built speed machine. It was designed to dominate NASCAR, and it did just that. Its most iconic feature was the massive rear wing and extended aerodynamic nose. These weren't for show. They were functional and tested in wind tunnels. Under the hood, the Superbird could be ordered with the legendary 426 HEMI V8. This engine produced 425 horsepower and insane torque. It could reach 60 miles per hour in about 5.5 seconds. Terrifying in 1970. Its top speed exceeded 150 miles per hour, making it faster than most supercars of its time. On the track, it broke records. On the street, it was a menace. Many insurance companies refused to cover it due to its performance. Its brakes and tires struggled to keep up with the power. It had minimal driver aids, making it unforgiving at high speeds. Only around 1,920 Superbirds were built, making them ultra-rare. The car was banned from NASCAR the following year due to its unfair advantage. It became a legend almost overnight. The 426 Hemi was nicknamed the Elephant for its size and strength. It was difficult to drive, but incredibly rewarding. The Superbird's wild look scared some buyers. Many sat unsold on lots. But collectors now pay hundreds of thousands for a clean example. It was one of the few street cars that could rival race cars of its era. The Superbird was truly ahead of its time in performance and aerodynamics. Its development was so focused on NASCAR that street usability was an afterthought. With poor visibility, tricky handling, and brutal acceleration, it demanded respect. It was overkill for the average driver. But for the brave few who tamed it, it was unforgettable. Its legacy inspired generations of high-performance Mopars. It even appeared as a character in the movie Cars, fitting for a legend. The 1970 Superbird proved that muscle cars could fly, almost literally. It's still one of the most outrageous cars ever made. And yes, it was absolutely too powerful for its time. 2. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. The 1969 Camaro ZL1 wasn't just a muscle car. It was a factory-built race car in disguise. Only 69 units were ever made, making it one of the rarest Camaros ever. Its secret weapon was the all-aluminum 427 ZL1 engine. Developed for drag racing, this motor was incredibly powerful and lightweight. Officially rated at 430 horsepower, real output was closer to 500. That made it one of the most powerful factory cars of the 1960s. It was developed under the COPO program. Chevrolet used it to bypass GM's ban on installing big engines in smaller cars. The result was a lightweight, massively powerful monster. The ZL1 could run the quarter mile in the low 11-second range with minor tuning. No other street Camaro could match it at the time. It was too fast for its tires, brakes, and even its suspension. It demanded a skilled driver to handle it properly. Insurance was a nightmare, making it almost impossible to afford for average buyers. Its price tag was nearly double a regular Camaro SS. Many dealers couldn't sell them and sent them back, but racers knew this was a sleeper weapon. Understated styling made it hard to tell it apart from normal Camaros, but under the hood was pure chaos. The aluminum block kept the front end light, improving balance. It was a surprisingly good-handling muscle car with the right setup. Chevrolet built it for NHRA Superstock drag racing. Some ZL1s went straight to the strip, skipping street duty entirely. The sound of the ZL1 engine was loud, raw, and mechanical. It had no luxuries, just power and performance. Today, surviving ZL1s are million-dollar collector items. They represent the absolute peak of muscle car madness from GM. Few cars, then or now, offer such a pure, unfiltered experience. The 1969 Camaro ZL1 wasn't just fast, it was too fast. It was a secret weapon unleashed on the streets of America. 3. 1971. Ford Mustang Boss 351. The 1971 Mustang Boss 351 was a last hurrah before the muscle car era began to fade. It packed serious power in a larger and heavier body. Under the hood was the 351 Cleveland 5.8 engine. Ford gave it solid lifters, high compression heads, and a 4-barrel carb. The result was a brutal 330 horsepower. But many believe it made closer to 375. It was the most underrated boss of them all. Despite being heavier, it could sprint to 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds. Its quarter-mile time hovered around 13.8 seconds. That was serious speed in 1971. The engine revved high, and the gearing made full use of the power band. It had a 4-speed manual transmission and a 3.91 rear axle. That made it a fantastic stoplight brawler. The Boss 351 had unique styling with blacked-out details and striping. It also had functional ram air scoops to feed the hungry V8. The suspension was upgraded to handle the extra power. It cornered better than many of its contemporaries, but it was still a beast, especially for inexperienced drivers. Ford engineers knew they were pushing the limits of a street car. The Boss 351 was barely street legal. It was loud, rough, and unforgiving, just how muscle fans liked it. Insurance companies hated it, and gas prices were rising. Emissions laws were tightening, making cars like this endangered. The Boss 351 was only produced for 1 year. Fewer than 2,000 units were built, making it extremely rare. It's now considered a hidden gem in Mustang history. It had one of the best power-to-weight ratios of its era. On the track, it could embarrass bigger displacement cars. For 1971, it was truly overpowered. The Boss 351 was a street-legal race car in disguise, and one of the last of its kind before regulations changed everything. 4. 1970. Buick GSX Stage 1, the luxury muscle monster. The 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 was a true sleeper among muscle cars. It combined luxury, comfort, and pure, unfiltered power. Under the hood sat a 455 cubic-inch V8 engine with 510 pound-feet of torque. That made it one of the torquiest engines of the muscle car era. While Buick was seen as a brand for older, wealthier drivers, the GSX flipped that image upside down. It could run the quarter-mile in the low 13-second range, shocking everyone. It was faster than many Corvettes and Mustangs of the era. With Stage 1 performance, it offered forged internals and a high-lift cam. It was incredibly underrated due to Buick's conservative marketing. But those who knew about it feared and respected it. Visually, the GSX stood out with its rear spoiler and bold stripes. It came in 2 high-impact colors, Saturn Yellow and Apollo White. Despite its large size, the GSX handled well and felt planted. It was a car built for the highway, and it ruled the streets. Many insurance companies didn't know how fast it was until it was too late. Some wouldn't even insure it once performance numbers got out. The car was often overlooked by drag racers, but those who tried it never looked back. Its acceleration was violent, and its torque came instantly. It didn't just launch, it attacked. The GSX's cabin was plush and loaded, almost like a luxury lounge. This dual personality made it even more surprising. In many ways, the GSX proved that muscle and class could coexist. It was the gentleman's street brawler. In 1970, only around 678 GSX Stage 1s were made. This makes it one of the rarest and most valuable muscle cars today. Collectors now treasure it for both its brute force and scarcity. Back then, it was simply too powerful for its own image. Even seasoned racers were caught off guard by its brutal acceleration. The GSX Stage 1 is a true legend of misunderstood performance. It will forever be remembered as Buick's wildest beast. 5. 1970 Dodge Challenger RT 446 Pack, the Street Sniper. The 1970 Dodge Challenger RT 446 Pack was a street predator. It featured one of the most outrageous engine setups of its time. The six-pack referred to its triple two-barrel carburetors feeding the 440 Magnum 5.8. This setup delivered 390 horsepower, but it felt like more. Dodge underrated it, like many manufacturers did. The 446 pack was lighter than the Hemi, but nearly as fast. It gave drivers monstrous mid-range torque and explosive launches. It was a favorite among drag racers who wanted raw street performance. Unlike the Hemi, it was more affordable and easier to tune. That made it a favorite weapon for underground racing scenes. Its quarter-mile times were consistently in the low 13s. With some tweaks, it could dip into the 12s. The Challenger's aggressive stance and bold styling made it look ready to strike. Its wide body and shaker hood screamed attitude. The car wasn't just for show, it backed it up with action. Many drivers feared pulling up next to a 446 pack at a red light. It had no mercy and no chill. The sound of its idle alone was enough to scare competitors. Even police departments struggled to keep up with them. It became a symbol of rebellion and American power. Despite its price tag, many young hot rodders got their hands on one. They made legends out of this beast on Friday night races. Some called it the Hemi Killer because it offered similar performance for less. But it wasn't just a budget option. It was a full-blown menace. Dodge knew they had created a monster and leaned into it. They advertised it as a factory-built drag car for the street. The six-pack setup was tricky to tune, but devastating when dialed in. It demanded respect and rewarded courage. In many ways, it was too much for the average driver. That's what made it perfect for the era, and too dangerous to last unchanged. The 446 Pack Challenger is a street legend that roared louder than most. These machines weren't just fast, they were outrageous. Built during an era with little regard for limits, these muscle cars pushed the boundaries of what was street legal. Whether it was torque that shattered tires or horsepower figures that scared insurance companies, each car in this video stood as a warning. Handle with care. They were too powerful for their time, feared by the competition, misunderstood by the public, and now celebrated by enthusiasts everywhere. In a world where cars are getting smarter and quieter, these beasts remind us of a time when raw power ruled the streets. Thanks for watching Vintage Wheels Chronicles. If you loved this ride through muscle car madness, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another burnout-filled episode. And let us know in the comments, which of these cars would you dare to drive full throttle? Until next time, keep the revs high and the rubber burning. Stay loud, stay classic, stay legendary.